Who is Eric Ericson and how does he help the PSW? Well, that's what we're talking about today, folks. Eric Ericson was a German-American psychologist in the early 1900s, and he is most famous for developing the 8 stages of psychosocial development. So, looking at 8 different age groups in the 8 stages and how human beings have to kind of accomplish their psychosocial need in each stage group in order to move on and through life in a healthy manner. Okay. So he's kind of saying if you don't meet your psychosocial needs, you may run into psychological problems later in life. Hence, when you go to a psychologist, they always ask you, tell me about your childhood and how did you feel? That's one of their most famous questions. So let's look at Eric Erickson's developmental stages here. Here are the 8 stages listed. Very important for your client to meet each one of these stages. The first stage is trust versus mistrust. So this is for infants. Remember, infants are 0 to 12 months of age and their trust needs must be met in order to proceed in a healthy psychosocial manner. Trust needs means is the baby being fed when he wants to? Is he sleeping when he wants to? Are his diapers being changed when he wants to? Those are the needs that must be met. If they are met successfully, the baby will develop trust with the parent or with the caregiver. However, if they are not met, that baby can actually start to mistrust other human beings, and that can actually follow them through for the rest of their lives. So, very important for your client to meet these psychosocial needs. The next age group is 1 to 3 year olds. They go through something called autonomy versus doubt. If you think of a 1 to 3 year old, autonomy, self determination, self regulation, I think their big psychosocial need is toilet training and developing autonomy around that. Usually, toilet training is completed around 2.5 years of age. So we're kind of representing the toddler age group here, 1 to 3 year olds, and they're going to accomplish some of those self-care needs like toilet training in order to develop their autonomy. If they don't accomplish those things, they can actually have doubt or self-doubt themselves. That can follow them through for the rest of their lives as well. Next age group are 3 to 6 year olds, early childhood. They go through psychosocial needs called initiative versus guilt. Initiative means is the 3 to 6 year old taking initiatives in their lives to try and accomplish some of their activities of daily living. So 3 to 6 year olds, if you think of them, they're showing initiative with brushing their teeth on their own, brushing their hair on their own, getting dressed. Self-dress is a big one, getting their lunch ready for school. Those are all self-care needs that a 3 to 6 year old should be learning. That's going to show great initiative in them. And that's also going to help their self-esteem, feeling good about themselves. If they don't accomplish those types of things, they can actually go through guilt, like a guilt complex in themselves that can follow them through for the rest of their lives as well. Next age group are 6 to 12 year olds. They go through something called competence versus inferiority. 6 to 12 year olds are late childhood. Competence means they're learning new skills, they're learning how to study, they're doing homework, they're writing tests now. 6 to 12 year olds, if they kind of do well and accomplish those types of goals, they will have great competence in themselves. If not, they can actually develop inferiority complex and not feeling good about themselves. Next age group is 12 to 20 year olds. 12 to 20 year olds, adolescents, we call them teenage years. They go through identity versus role confusion. Identity meaning if you have a teenager in your house, you know they go through different looks, different appearances, changing their nails, changing their hair, changing their color. lots of clothing and what material things mean to them. They're trying to find their way in the world, trying to find how they fit in, especially during high school. So that's what we call identity. If they feel like they're successful, they've accomplished their identity psychosocial need. If not, they can actually go through periods of confusion, which can then lead to psychosocial problems, sadness, hopelessness, depression, those types of things. So very important one for that age group, identity versus role confusion, 12 to 20-year olds. Next one is for 20 to 40-year olds, which we call young adulthood. Young adulthood, they go through intimacy versus isolation. Well, what do 20 to 40-year olds usually do? They're finishing school, they're getting married, they're saving money, maybe buying a house, maybe starting a family with children. That all falls under intimacy, psychosocial accomplishments. If they don't accomplish some of those things, could lead to loneliness, isolation, those types of things that can play on your clients. The psychosocial mind can lead to more serious problems like depression as well. And next one are 40 to 65-year olds, middle adulthood, we call that age group, 40 to 65. So if they're working hard, they're going to find they have more leisure time in this age group. And usually generativity means looking back on the next generation. So looking back on younger adults and how can they help younger adults. So maybe they're going to start volunteering, start coaching, start doing community events, helping out during elections. Those types of things would be generativity, giving back to society, feeling good about yourselves. If they don't go through that type of psychosocial health, that could lead to stagnation, which is kind of the same thing, stagnation, loneliness, depression, that type of thing for 40 to 65-year olds. And the last group here are 65-year olds and older. They usually go through psychosocial tasks called integrity versus despair. Integrity means looking back on your life at that age and feeling proud about what you've done, the decisions you made, what you accomplished. Majority of things you're pretty happy with. That would be integrity. The opposite would be despair, looking back on your life, not liking your decisions, not liking what you accomplished. That would lead to more despair in your client. Okay. And then that can also lead to psychosocial problems as well. So you're kind of looking out for these types of behaviors in your client, how they're thinking, how their emotions are, how they're behaving. You're always reporting on any changes in behavior, especially with your client's psychosocial needs. How are they behaving socially, intellectually, emotionally? Those types of things you're monitoring in your clients. Hey, hope that was helpful. And I'll see you next time on JoJo the Caregiving Show. Remember to like, share, and subscribe.